6 in Monza, Italy. And let's make some noise, guys. This game's getting started right now. All right. And here we are. We see that the purple is Midas, the Terran player. He is spawning at the 12 o'clock location. Legendary over here on farther right at the 2 o'clock position, I suppose, on Paranoid Android. Excuse me, my voice is a little shot today. I've been broadcasting a whole lot, and I sound a little bit like a frog right now. I apologize for that. We're seeing that right now Legendary is in the spot that is actually a little bit weaker on this. This occasionally happens. Making StarCraft maps is very difficult. This location mines resources 15% quicker than this location. So that does not mean that Legendary has some kind of disadvantage that is so big that he cannot possibly come back from it. But what it does mean is that we might see a different style, a different opening, perhaps a rush or perhaps a fast expansion. It could be anything, to be honest. Midas, once again, this is a characteristic I've noticed about this player. He does not like to wall in. He is very competent in his ability to micro his units. Micro being controlling your units with the mouse, abusing the game AI, and using and basically making your units more valuable, making them do more damage than they actually should. Now we see a pylon going up here for Legendary, a gateway coming down here now. Legendary, a characteristic I've noticed about him, he does like to scout a little bit later. He is not one of the players that relies off intelligence to see what his opponent is doing. We now also see over here that we see Midas going for the standard barracks. He will be building something on, he built something on the gas geyser. When you build on the gas geyser, it allows you to mine the second resource in StarCraft. He also doing that. Now in this matchup, both players, neither of them usually rush with their base unit, the Zealot or the Marine, and that is because mid-game that does not leave you in a good position. Instead, rather, they both tech, and that's why we're both seeing the gas geysers thrown up here very quickly. We're also seeing, we haven't really seen that much so far. As you can tell, this game looks a lot like the game we saw before. That does not mean this game will turn out the same way, though. This map is completely different. The map Paranoid Android, if you will follow the screen right now, we can see this is the path to his opponent's base. It's a very short distance to get there. And basically, that means that occasionally rushes are very powerful. I've even seen people rush in there and steal their opponent's gas in an attempt to slow down the tech. There's a lot of things you can do. This game's very complicated. Perhaps the most difficult game to learn in esports, and while that might hurt a lot of other gamers' feelings about the games they're playing, I'm sorry. Try to play the game and see what happens. We're seeing the cybernetic score warping in right now. 500, 500. I don't know why I named the hit points. I'm trying to think of things to keep talking about while I'm casting. The hit points probably not the most significant thing in the Protoss space that we should be talking about right now. SCV scouting the Protoss's base. Now he's using this SCV. This is not an attacking unit, so that's why we're seeing the SCV running around his opponent's base, not doing anything. This is just a worker, but he takes one worker off here, sacrificing economy just a little bit, but enough to run around here and get some idea of what his opponent's doing. As we can see here, nothing out of the ordinary. We see Midas right now hiding submarines back here. This will be used as a possible trap. He's going to put a few more up here, and then if any Dragoon rushes up here to break this ramp, we will see the Marines sneak up from behind. Or perhaps he's using these Marines to search for a hidden tech, actually. I'm not sure. Marines now moving out. We're going to see what his intentions are with these Marines. I believe he was simply looking for a scouting probe or something like that he could pick off, something he could do a little bit of damage to. We're seeing the factory is upgrading something right now. We do not know what. I would presume it's a tank coming in here right now. Barracks lifting off. And the barracks will float across they're very close. Literally, look, they're very close by air. This makes drops very, very strong. Thank you very much. They make drops very strong. And what that basically means is that, in this case, we can see that the barracks can float over there, take a peek of what his opponent's doing, and then float right back onto his base. The barracks has a lot of hit points, 1,000 to be exact. And this gives the Terran player an opportunity to kind of get an idea of what his opponent's doing. Legendary, perhaps being ready for this, has not hidden any tech structures back here due to the closeness and the possibility the barracks will come in here. It will float kind of over here into the base. He will now see that the Dragoon range is being upgraded. Dragoon's about to bump into these Marines, and these Marines will have to turn around. They will chase him across this map. One Marine dying. We see mines being planted on the small bridge on Gaia. There is also a bridge in this location down here, but normally this bridge is used more early game, simply because you got to get back to your opponent's base very quickly. We see the barracks now taking a peek in there, floating back home. Midas has been using this exact same build against Protoss every single game down here. He's clearly very comfortable with it. He's got an academy now. We're seeing a scanner go up over here. This will allow him to also scan for Dark Templars and other units. Legendary playing this by the book. A pretty standard opening. 2 Gateway Dragoon into a Nexus, and yeah, it's the game. So far the game's going very standard. This game will not be as short as the last one. I can almost guarantee that. And well, right now it's pretty much kind of a passive game, I guess you could say. Water is good. We are now seeing Robo Bay getting thrown up. Both players playing this very by the book, very standard. Doesn't by any means mean that they are less skilled. It just simply means that in this situation on this map, this is the way they felt this map should be played. Nexus almost done over here, as well as the command center. They will be getting done at almost the identical time, and that means that it will be a pretty even game economically. Although, unfortunately, Penguin Plug, the StarCraft Observer thing, was not installed on this computer, so I cannot see how much money or food or supply they have. But so I'm kind of guessing. But right now, I think Protoss is going to get his second expansion up before the Terran. Protoss kind of the defender in this matchup. Usually, it's Terran that has to make the first move. Terran turtles in his base. This is a word used in a lot of games, turtling, referencing, of course, to a turtle in its shell. Every time it's attacked, it goes back into the shell, into its safety. And what Terran's going to do is Terran's going to continue to turtle and macro up, building up a massive amount of units, and then pushing across, more than likely pushing across this big bridge over here. We're now seeing the second expansion going up for Legendary. Again, nothing really out of the ordinary here. Protoss needs to have more expansions than Terran. Terran do not use Marines except for perhaps the first few minutes. Instead, they get bikes and tanks, and they use these heavy units to combat. The Protoss is also very tough units. Now, the Terran is normally strong when they're in a stationary static defense. Protoss is a bit more mobile, able to run around. So therefore, Terran has to do what is known as a push in StarCraft, leapfrogging the units across the map. Very difficult to do. There's so many mini games in StarCraft. If that makes any sense, so many different things that you can get good at, and so many different things that you have to master. I see that. Wow, that was pretty good. He did scan the observer. He noticed the blur slowly moving across the map, and he picked that off. We see another observer going in here. These units also not attacking units for those guys who are noobs out there. Instead, they float across the map, giving vision of things like mines, allowing the Dragoons to pick off the mines. And we will now see Terran also double expanding. Pretty damn sexy, if you ask me. Kind of a turtle-like play here, but not a bad idea. I think Paranoid Android is turtling's very good on Paranoid Android, in my opinion. There's only really 3 points across the map. There's this bridge, and this is almost like a filter. Once you get over here, you'll just get surrounded and killed if you get out there mid-game. This bridge is the primary way that people go around here. Now you can go around this way, but I mean this is, as we can see, very far away from the players. Will not be used. However, this expansion comes down to an end game, and judging from the fact that this is kind of turning into a macro game, I believe within about maybe 15-20 minutes, all resources will be mined out, and it will come down to this expansion right here at the bottom left. For those of you who do not play StarCraft or are interested in playing it, you should go by Walmart and buy it. It's like $5 or something. And, it's a great game. I think it's easily the best RTS ever made and the most competitive one. There's a lot of tools out there now to help newbies learn the game. Replays are out there now, and, there's great forums like TeamLiquid.net that really allow people to really explore and understand this game a lot better. We're seeing a Reaver now coming out. Reaver drop over here. Boy, and he has no tower over here. Now, if this Reaver goes in here, and if this Reaver blows up these SCVs, no, he did not do it there. he decided instead that he would pull out Midas' reaction time very quick. And I think what's going to happen here is he's going to use this Reaver. He will use this Reaver to keep his opponent matted down in his base. Maybe not. I don't know. I see him pulling it back now. I've made some bad calls here. A lot of these players from different countries have unique styles that are not quite. I'm from the United States. That too has kind of a unique style to it. And sometimes I'm kind of surprised at the techniques I see here. Reaver drop coming in here. Position between the two tanks. He will get this tank over here, and it will. Now, oh, he lost the Reaver. That is very bad for Legendary. He cannot afford to do that. It looks like the shuttle will now be flying back. Now, when you lose the Reaver, that's a very expensive unit. Again, this is it's an economic RTS, and because of that, you cannot afford to lose anything that you spend money on, basically. So anytime you see your opponent lose something, it affects them later on. Now, both players, again, we're seeing the 4th expansion over here with no probes being transferred to that very soon here for Legendary. You know, he's probably juggling so many tasks right now as there are so many things to do in StarCraft. Midas expanding again. This has turned into a very, very defensive game, and this means this game is just going to get out of control later on when it really picks up here. We're going to see a lot of huge battles. Both players will probably reach the PSI limit right now. I assume this is going to be used for Arbiters up here, perhaps to recall into his opponent's base. Recall being a very advanced player strategy over here. Now we're seeing Terran pushing out over here. Notice the line we see down here of tanks, making it very difficult for Protoss to attack it all at once. The shuttle over here full of zealots, which can be dropped on these tanks, unless, of course, the Goliaths shoot down the shuttle. He will rush up here, over here. He will attempt to get this this expansion. These tanks are not covering this. He did cancel the command center. That is one excellent move over here for Legendary. That will put his opponent behind just slightly. He will have to remake that command center somewhere. And we're now kind of seeing, well, we're really seeing this game unfold and seeing what makes StarCraft different from RTSs, and that is that there's a ridiculous amount of units being produced. There's so many things being juggled. The players have to keep up with, and we're now seeing this is where StarCraft. This is where you can really tell if someone's good or not, and these guys are the masters at this. It's constantly producing out of these gateways over here, clicking on each one of them, and then also microing your units. We see basically, you know, what I'm trying to tell you guys is there's just a lot of stuff going on in StarCraft. It's very, very hard to keep up with everything, and that's the beauty of this game. We're seeing, I assume there's an arbiter thingy coming in over here. That's used to produce Arbiter's surprise, which will make it very difficult for the Terran army to push. Arbiter's cloaking anything that is resting underneath them. We now see this game turned out to be very exciting, much more exciting than that first game, which kind of sucked if you ask me. We're now seeing the final expansion on the map. There is literally only one expansion right now which is not being used, and I can guarantee you, very soon when this command center lands there, literally every expansion on the map will be taken. Now, if you've ever played StarCraft, you would notice that these guys are very good at expanding very fast. This is very difficult to do. A lot of math going on right now, a lot of psychology. You know, this is going to turn out to be a very exciting game, and I'm really glad to see this after seeing that first game was so short. I was a little disappointed there. Now, again, neither player attacking each other, as we can see. It's become a very defensive game. The first person to make the blunder, it could cost him the game. Now we see Protoss units rallying up over here. Protoss may be getting ready for an attack. It's not clear. He may just be using this to run up this ramp and intercept this expansion again. If he does stop Midas from expanding again, it will slow Midas down and affect him later on. Perhaps this Dragoon will land underneath the command center, forcing it to not land. Nope. Instead, the Protoss units will be pulled back, and Terran continues to push forward at a very careful but a very good rate, I would say. We're seeing a couple mines laid down here. These mines trying to keep the Dragoons from possibly going up this ramp over here into this base. And it looks like right now Legendary is a little bit ahead right now. Legendary up in expansions, although that is the role of Protoss. That is the burden of Terran. It's to stop. Oh! We did see a lot of SCBs forcing the mine to fly into the workers and blow them up. Very good. Now we're seeing. Now he's not going to attack all of this. He will only attack a few. Now we see him pushing in here. It looks like if he can set these mines off right here, It will be very devastating to these tanks, but it somehow does not work. Now, Legendary did lose a lot of units right now, and Midas is aware of this. You cannot afford to lose a lot of units in a game like StarCraft, because when you do lose those units, it will affect the game later on. Everything in this game, there's nothing that doesn't matter in this game. Everything, everything, everything plays a role. This Dragoon, a sad day for him. He got completely owned by those tanks, and we will see that Midas getting Arbiters right now, or very soon, is continuing to macro out of these gateways. One Arbiter already hidden over here, so that if this location is scanned, he will see that his opponent does not, or assume that his opponent does not have an Arbiter yet. Now note, Legendary has had this expansion for some time. Note it. Remember, these resources, for those of you who do not play the game, these resources, this is not BGH, the resources get depleted. So he will be sucking a lot of minerals out of here. If Midas does push this, he will not be having the full amount of resources here. That will also play a big role. Midas, now suddenly on the move right now. Midas is deemed at this moment that it is time for him to begin the push. Now this is a very difficult position here for Protoss to push. The valley over here, it's very hard for Protoss units to fight Terran units head on. Wow, it's a lot of guys. And this game is turning out to be very exciting. Now, we're seeing right now, very careful line of tanks right now being pushed up here. Midas microing his units back right now. And we're seeing the Arbiter coming up here. Now this is going to be very, very hard for his opponent Legendary to deal with. You notice the angle at which this is coming in. This is something a lot of Protoss players complain about on this map, just very hard to handle. We're also seeing the Arbiter over here continuing to keep these units cloaked. Terran has to scan these units. Instead, he's going to go around this way, and it looks like we're going to see a full-on battle right now. He's going to test out the perimeters here, see if he's comfortable. Midas has not scanned. He has not scanned yet. He did scan now. I think Terran, due to the location of this right now, it's going to be very bad for Protoss, I think. I think Protoss will lose it. Oh, Protoss will definitely lose this battle. Midas definitely in the lead right now. This Nexus has gone down, and we are now seeing Midas's army does not compare to the ridiculously big army. Legendary's army does not compare to the size of Midas's army. Midas having a very big tactical advantage over here. Excuse me. We see that right now it's really going to come down to this expansion. Legendary knows this. He's going to have to do something to take this back. Legendary had the expansion first. Now Midas does. There's no way. Oh, whoa! Recall over here in the main of Midas. Pulling units over there. This is an ability which Arbiters have to recall into the main. He's going to kill these factories. That will very badly hurt his opponent. And Midas not going to be able to reinforce this quite as easily as he would have probably liked to. He's going to use these Templar to either storm. He's going to storm these groups of tanks. Very nice by Legendary. Meanwhile, gathering more and more troops, forcing Midas to split his army. He's going to pull these units back here, basically forcing Midas to waste more time. And then ultimately, this is it's going to continue to happen. He's going to continue to recall units in here. And this is the problem. As I said before, Terran are strongest when they're in their static-like defense. However, if you can force them to split their troops, you can attack them from multiple angles. And that really messes them up. Okay. We now see a counterattack over here. He will get that expansion. Excellent move by Legendary. The recall doing just what it was supposed to do to divert Midas's troops back up over here so he could then counterattack and retreat. This is a very, very good play over here by Legendary. I know a lot of the people in the audience, I think, really want to see Legendary win this. From the foreigner community meaning the non-Korean community out there, we really like to see the good representation from the players, see that we are not as bad as we would like to think we are compared to the Koreans. And then, not to say that the Koreans are somehow genetically engineered to play StarCraft or something like that. It's just that, their culture has embraced esports so well. And what better game to embrace than StarCraft? Their players train for up to 10 hours a day, practicing strategies, different techniques to defeat their opponents. They are the masters of this game. And to that, I say I respect their culture very much. Now, be very careful here, Legendary. As you can see, Terran once again having tanks in siege mode over here. That's going to keep his opponent from basically, rushing in here. Another recall would be a wise decision, I believe. And it looks to me like we're seeing and the Nexus again warping in. Protoss needs to do another recall over here, and it looks like Midas is prepared for this. We see these turrets over here ready to shoot down any arbiter that might happen to come that way. And unfortunately, we have not seen the other Nexus come up here. I think right now, I do believe this will be a little bit in Legendary's favor, and Midas's favor if we do not see Legendary get up this expansion and get another recall on here very soon. We see an Arbiter, sneaky Arbiter coming in here. I'm not sure where he's going. Oh, he did fly around. That was pretty good. He's going to fly back over here. He's going to fly in here, and he's going to do yet another recall into Midas's base. And we will see that. Oh, but he's going to recall on a mine. Will he? Whoa. He's going to get the recall over here. And it looks to me like Midas, once again, will have to divide his forces over here into the base. He's going to pull these units up here, attacking the factories of his opponent. Is Midas scanning as fast as he possibly can. He needs to get this Nexus up over here if he wants this to be of any use whatsoever. Also, note that basically, obviously Protoss wasn't going to kill the Terran with this, but he's slowing him down, and he's forcing Terran to divide his army. Now, once again, we see a massive army of Protoss troops rallying down here at the big bridge being basically what's going to be used to walk across here. Can't use this one, it's too small, and this one's pretty much too out of the way. Terran continuing to move down here. Tank sieging up right now. Whoa, stasis by, not the best stasis, probably would have been better to get this one, but he's rushing in here, and he's doing a lot of damage. He's picking him off right now, and these troops, they will go up this way. He's going right over here. Well, this is awesome, guys. This is very exciting. We're seeing Legendary right now picking up this expansion. Nexus now warping in here. This is pretty tight. Storm on these Goliaths. Back off, Goliaths. Not in my hood. Storm. Oh, what? Awesome, Storm. SCVs are so tough. They somehow didn't die back there, though. But it was still a really exciting Storm. Really well done for Midas. I guess Koreans are just so good. Their units are somehow have more hit points. I don't know the deal. We're seeing, though, this is really slowing down Midas. More troops now rallying down here and an expansion getting thrown up over here. We're also seeing the Arbiter will be in Arbiter heaven or hell wherever he goes. Depending, I guess, whether or not he was a good Arbiter. With Storms, once again, picking up more tanks. Now notice that the beautiful tank line we see over here, intentionally positioned so that the tanks do optimum amount of damage due to the spread, the way they're spread out, I should say. I think we're going to need to see another Arbiter recall, though, if Legendary does what he needs to do here. This has been a while since we've seen this expansion get up here. I think that might cost Legendary the game if he is to lose this. It's hard to say right now. It's pretty back and forth. Protoss rallying more troops over here. And Midas rushing over here. These troops will come over here and try to catch these units over here. The units over here must hurry. They must get over there in time. This will be very difficult. This angle, this lip over here, very hard for the other player to deal with. If he can get a Storm over here on these tanks, it'll be very strong, but I think these siege tanks will be too powerful unless he can get a really good Storm over here. Another Storm! Yes, he will kill a lot of tanks over here. Very exciting. Oh, he did kind of mention GG. Unfortunately, Legendary did lose that game. While it did seem like that game was going to be very back and forth there, Legendary got that expansion up to not in time, and that is what cost him the game. Although I gotta say, excellent play by Legendary. Midas just being too much of a really good player to keep up with, I guess. The macro's too good, the micro's too good. Well, that wraps it up here for my casting at WCG. It's been a real pleasure to be down here. Thank you, everybody who's joining me, whether it's online or in the Cyberspace 2 area right now. And thank you, everybody who's always been supporting StarCraft.